The Local Show, sponsored by Victory in Motion, home of knee repair, not knee replacement, on News Radio 570 WSYR, on 106.9 FM, and live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. The Local Show features in-depth conversation with business owners, employees, and influential business leaders throughout Central New York, exploring their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business right here in our growing community. The Local Show is produced locally by Zoe Advertising. Now your hosts, Tom and Steve.
We're back at it and back into it. You found The Local Show, the summer edition in full swing right here with Tom and Steve, your friendly garden gnomes.
So, Tom, you were away on vacation. What happened to your empire, your yard, your plants? Your dogs didn't get to dig it up because they were. How did everything go?
Our niece, Michaela, was nice enough to stay at the house. When I say nice enough, we paid her. Okay. So, but she had the freedom of the whole home, and she kept my plants watered.
She cut the
which
yard?
was nice. No, actually, one of Nicholas's friends is into landscaping.
Okay.
So we hired him
Which means he'll
come
cut lawns for money.
Right.
That's what into landscaping.
We had to pay for that one.
Yeah.
And Mikey was no worse for the wear. However, I think he realized we weren't there. So
some anxiety?
Yeah, some anxiety. So he peed upstairs. He pooped down in the basement. He pooped in the living room. So things like she had to contend with that.
Some surprises.
Yeah, some surprises right there. And so then when we came back, the house was still nice and neat and clean, and it was nice to be back.
The bridge of South Bay still closed, so you can't get there anymore.
Yeah. South Bay.
You got to go through
closed,
Maine to get out of the area over there.
Right. All right, look, hey, it's our pleasure to bring back Joe Stanley. He's the founding partner of the Stanley Law Office. How are you, Joe?
I'm good. Traveling is always a wonderful thing.
Oh my goodness!
That
for other
up,
people.
Yeah, that brings up a point.
Yes.
Though, you know what I was. People don't plan when they travel, and I can say this.
Yes.
First of all, you want to make sure your vehicle is checked
Tip-top.
out. Well, yeah, your tires are inflated properly. Not, when it gets hot, they overinflate.
Yeah,
when it gets
that's
cold,
right.
they underinflate. And you want to make sure you have good tires.
Yes.
Especially if you're towing something.
And I was towing all the way down there.
And those tires are notoriously not so good on
trailers.
vehicles
Yeah,
there.
sure.
And so, those are supposed to be inspected also. You're supposed to have an inspection sticker.
Yep.
And also, they don't realize that, okay, maybe your radiator needs to be checked and cleaned and whatever, because when you're towing or it's this hot,
you could
things go
overheat.
wrong, yes.
You could overheat.
And, if you break down, it's going to destroy your vacation because trying to get it to be fixed is not good. And if you have a blowout or something wrong with your tires, it may not just be a detriment to your vacation. It may be something way more serious.
Did that ever happen to you, Joe? Did you break down on a vacation?
I've had blowouts.
Really?
Because just because the roads are bad. And
Yeah,
I can tell
they
you
always are.
Tires are a very difficult thing.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, whether you have a donut or you don't, whether you have run flats or you don't, trying to get them repaired or fixed is a huge problem and very expensive.
And you can't buy one tire anymore. Like, you got to have this. Well, you can't do that. You end up spending.
They're supposed to match or whatever. But again, you want to be safe. And I've handled a lot of cases where, people were towing and didn't really know how to tow. I say, listen, you got to practice. It's like driving in the snow.
Yeah.
It's like driving in the snow. You forget. And if you just hop in there and don't look at anything and you're just driving down the road, you forget.
I've towed up to 31-foot boat and, done a lot of different towing. Towed a trailer for snowmobiles, all that. And then, of course, my DJ trailer, which is only a 5x8. But it depends what kind of trailer you get too. So the daughter had rented a U-Haul, and they have the big long necks, which drives different than the other ones that are a closer neck, and it vibrates
and
like a
sway.
Exactly. And you can get into a fishtail situation if you're going too fast.
Yeah, and I just saw somebody was driving a full-size bus RV, and they're towing a full-size truck on it.
I don't know how they do it.
Those things are and you don't have to have a special license. Those are bigger than a double tandem trailer. Those are bigger. And I can't
You
imagine.
should have to have a license.
Well, I can't imagine going 70 miles an hour.
Yeah.
I'd be terrified.
It has to stop at every gas station.
Give
me the back. You do
But,
it.
but again, if you're driving, first of all, people need to understand you never slow down passing trucks or vehicles like this, and they always
advice.
do. You go by them. I don't care what the speed limit is. The more time you spend in the blind spot of these vehicles, the more you're risking
I've done
your
that.
life and the other lives.
When I get next to it, I blow. I'm not going to. People will stay next to him. Like, why are you doing that?
Well, and again, because people aren't trained.
Right. Yeah, they're not professional drivers.
Well, and they're not trained. You can get a driver's license without ever being on the highway. We do not test people to drive on the highway, which is one of my big complaints. How much driving do you do that's on the highway, and you never test somebody to see if they can even get behind the wheel at 60, let alone able to drive?
And then tow a trailer. There's no test for that.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, yeah. Well,
You're hooking up a camper, you're hooking up a boat or a trailer.
Sure.
You kind of figure it out. I hate. But Judy would laugh because anytime we tow our boat, I'm like, oh, I hate towing it. Joe, to your point, the tires, towing is just another challenge. And when I towed it last year out to Fairhaven, George, my buddy George, I said, George, can you follow me? He's like, sure. I felt safer because I had him behind me, and I'm always waiting for something to happen. But there's some dangerous things that can happen.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah. If you don't attach them right, your lights aren't working. People. Yeah, and again, people don't think about it. They just go ahead and do it, and then they're driving, and something goes wrong. The wind comes up, or a truck goes by them, and they don't know how to react. And then
How much of your work has to do with the road and things that happen?
A good majority, because most people drive and most people engage in sometimes not paying attention. And if you don't pay attention when you're driving, or pay attention to your vehicle before you drive, you're more likely to have a problem.
How does someone prove if someone was distracted by texting? How do they even prove that, or can't they?
Well, I mean, you can get phone records. It's part of a lawsuit. You can always get phone records, but most of the time it's pretty obvious that an accident happened because somebody was distracted, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a phone. The reason you didn't see something was because you weren't watching, or your mind wasn't engaged.
Yeah.
And so it's easy. Okay, you say you pulled out. Okay, and you didn't see the other car. Okay, you must have been going too fast. That's what they always say. Well, you didn't see them, so how can you say they were going too fast? The reason you didn't see them is you weren't paying attention. You were on semi-autopilot or no autopilot, and I think that's the biggest issue.
Does insurance execute the same way when you are out of state as it does when you're in state?
As long as you're in the United States or Canada.
Okay.
Mexico's different.
Right.
Okay.
But I could have been down in Georgia, got a fender bender with somebody who was from Missouri, and my insurance, all the processes would be the same.
Well, your insurance would cover you. Now, if you got involved in an accident and somebody got hurt in Georgia, you'd have to be sued in Georgia, because you wouldn't be able to do it here. Or somebody hurt you, you would most likely need to have a lawyer there handle your case. Maybe, but no. And the law in every state is different. New York's, your insurance follows you around, but you may be governed by all sorts of other rules in other states that are not the same.
That's something to be aware of.
So if you need a guy, we got a guy. It's Joe Stanley. If you need to talk to someone, StanleyLawOffices.com. Knows a lot of stuff and isn't that bad to talk to. So there we go, Joe.
Once in a while.
Once in a while. Thanks for joining us today.
My pleasure.